Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. I thought it would be fun to talk about how I plan to age in place uh, as a solo senior here out in my cabin in the woods. And I've talked before about how I love being alone and how I really don't feel alone at all because I'm not. And yes, I have my dogs, but I have a very spiritual depth and awareness. And that's why I never feel alone and have never my entire life. And one of you asked me a question, and I actually did not answer it in full. And I'm going to address it here because, and it was a great question, and it was very sincere and concerning because here I am, an old lady living alone out here in the woods. Although I'm close to medical services, and of course, I have emergency availability on my phone if ever need be. But they asked me if I had a plan B, and I said no. But today, I just came back from a hike with Mag and Sheppy, just a short hike, and I realized I do have a plan B, and I might have a plan C. I don't know. But I realized that as I age, because we're all aging all the time, my only concern is my physical well being. And I realized that there's some things I can do about it and will be uh, taking action. And I'm really excited to tell you what they are. And I'm curious if any of you do the same. Because for me, taking care of myself is number one. And of course, taking care of the dogs as well. And all the physical activity, it's not work, stacking my firewood, because I just do a little at a time. And walking every day also is great. But now winter's coming, and I'm going to be a little more sedentary again. And yes, I love to lay on the couch or in bed, uh, snacking while I'm watching videos or reading your comments, which is a horrible habit. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to break it, but I guess the secret is to snack on healthier things. But there's something I'm going to start doing for myself, and I'm really excited because I think it falls into the category of Plan B. And that is that as I'm aging, I'm noticing my muscle strength is very slightly, maybe more than slightly, falling by the wayside. And I'm not happy about that because I used to be very, very strong, very athletic, and yeah, from riding horses, from running, from swimming, all of that. And it's a natural progression that we slow down. But I'm not going to slow down any more than I have to. So I thought yesterday that I'm going to start weightlifting. I have no idea what the proper positions are, but I thought about buying weights, and then I thought, wait a minute, I can use my firewood. And I can go outside on my deck and I can start doing some weightlifting exercises. And I can learn about the stretching, which is also very, very important, especially for us seniors, to try to stay as flexible as we can. And I'm not going to let my body fall apart when it wants to. I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to start working out. So I'm really excited because I used to actually work out with weights when I was younger, and it was more in fun and more because I enjoyed it, not that I really needed to. But I remembered how much I enjoyed it and how much the rush from the physical workout really gave me. And I think I'm going to really enjoy that over the winter and keep up with it and make it part of maybe a 3-day-a-week routine, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. Because I know you're supposed to rest in between and not do too much. And the only thing that's really starting to slow me down, I've got a touch of arthritis in my back, and I overdid it a bit, stacking my firewood and throwing it up the hill. But now I won't be doing that with my brand new driveway, which is one of the reasons I had my brand new driveway installed, so I could back up and not throw my wood up the hill, but just toss it. And so I guess I'm really looking at ways to make living here much easier. And some of you also mention here and there about any possible concerns being alone. And I'd like to remind everyone that I absolutely love being alone. And I don't fear anything that hasn't happened yet, nor do I forecast anything that hasn't happened yet. And if I do think of the future, I think of all the exciting things that I'm doing, such as finishing my books, writing more, looking for land for my animal sanctuary. And I did find 100 acres nearby, which is actually a good deal because part of it is unbuildable. It has quite a bit of, not quite a bit, but it has some streams that run through it. And if it sits a while and the price comes down, I may take another look in the spring because it's not that far away. And I might even be able to purchase additional adjoining land. And that is actually perfect for my sanctuary because it does have a natural spring and water that runs through it, fresh water, not the ocean. And looking for land that is not buildable is actually perfect for what I'm trying to do because I want to leave it natural anyway. Which leads me to my next plan as a senior. Because even though I love living here in my cabin, I will always stay here as long as I have Sheppy and Maggie because this is their home. This is where they're comfortable and this is what they know. And if I could ever purchase land while still living here, that would be ideal. But I would never move them to a different location because I think it would be very confusing for them. And I think that they would miss being here because Sheppy really understands the lay of the land. And they really believe that this is their home, and it is. But I love thinking about plan C, D, and E and whatever comes after that because my plan B is to work at keeping physically in shape as much as I can and to start a weightlifting program. And I'm curious if any of you do that or have. Now, I think aging has a lot to do with our mindset. Of course it is. But it also has to do with maintaining our physical well-being. And thank goodness, so far, I don't have anything ongoing other than arthritis that creeps up. So I'm going to fight back on that. And ibuprofen helps me. But I think stretching and learning how to manage what's going on in my back will keep me strong. And I'm not looking at it as a negative. I'm looking at it as a challenge. And how can I keep my body going? Because I can. And I'm going to stay strong as I can. And that works, right? So aging in place is it for me. No, I never want to be in a facility. My mother was placed in one against her wishes. And one of the last things she told me was that she hated it. And the irony in that is that my mother worked as a supervisor in a nursing home for many, many years. And I'm sure she ruled the place with an iron fist. And she ultimately ended up living her last days in one and hated it. And no, I didn't wish that for her to be unhappy. But I just find it a little ironic. And one of the last things I told my mother, now that I'm remembering our last moments, I had told her that I had wished she had reached out because no matter our differences, I would have taken her in and cared for her. Even if it wasn't in this cabin, I would have found a place. Sheppy, stop it. And Sheppy wants to come in and he's crying, but he can wait a minute. I should probably get a doggy door for him, but I'm worried other critters might be coming through it, so that might not be such a good idea. But I think aging in place is a very exciting thing to look forward to. And I hope it's not getting too dark in here. But you get to see what it's like with just a fire at 6 o'clock at night in a late September afternoon. And pretty soon I'll light a candle. And that will be the only light I have. Other than I bought some of those string lights that go on Christmas trees. And I plugged those into my Jackery power station. And it works very, very well. But honestly, I don't miss all those bright lights, those bright electric lights. They bother me. And they're too bright, and I don't like them, and I don't miss them. So I guess I'm an old soul from the olden days that prefers the light from the fire, light from a candle, and light from the string lights that I have hanging up on the wall. So that's my plan B in growing old and aging in place. And if I'm ever able to live on that 100 acres, I wholeheartedly know that I will thrive because as long as I have Verizon cell signal and my phone, I'm not worried about a dang thing. And I'll tell you why that is. And I'm sure a lot of seniors perhaps have already come to the conclusion that we're at a point in life that whatever happens, happens. And we've already made our own personal choices, although we may not have told anyone, our friends, our family, our relatives. But sometimes I think about those elderly people who have walked off into the woods and are found later in unfortunate scenarios. And I wonder if sometimes if they've actually done that on purpose, because that was something they chose to do. I don't know. I'll never know that. But I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do. If they had intended to do that on purpose. And if they had found a comfortable way in doing so. So that's my goal and my plan for aging in place. To keep this old body going. To get a weightlifting regimen. And there's also something that I don't know if they still sell them. But I think they're like a stair stepper machine. And I suppose I could walk up and down my stairs. But this one is the sort of thing where you move your arms and you step on each elevated step one at a time to work your leg muscles. I like the sound of that. And if they can work without needing power, I think I'll get one. That would be really fun. And also, one thing that really will help my physical being is to drop a few more pounds. And I've done quite well already. As I mentioned in a previous video about passing by a lot of that junk food in the store, although some of it still calls to me. So that's a work in progress. And I'm sure my metabolism is fighting back too, so that I'm not as thin as I used to be. But I don't see all of these things as negatives at all. I just see it as part of the evolution of time and what it's doing to my physical being. And I can make choices to work with that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I hope this video inspired some of you that are maybe close to my age or even older to just get some small weights, maybe even just 5 or 10 pounders, and stretch. And don't overdo it, and don't work yourself into a frenzy. But honestly, keeping our bones strong and our muscle mass is crucial, especially if you're living alone like me. So I'm excited to let you all know if I purchase weights and if I get one of those exercise stepping machines. And if you know of any that you can suggest that don't require power. And I really don't want to walk up and down my stairs because walking down, I'm very careful walking down. And I would prefer using an exercise machine out on my porch or even upstairs 3 times a week. I think that would be really cool. So this winter, instead of sitting around being a little bit sedentary, which is what I did last winter and the winter before, I'm going to be a workout senior and see what happens and see if I can bring some of my muscle mass back and fight against time. So I hope you enjoyed my fire. I hope it wasn't too dark. And yeah, I'm excited. And if I really get in shape, it's going to be so invigorating and so uplifting. I hope to inspire any of you out there who have been thinking about it and who are aging and maybe feeling a little bit like you're losing your muscles and maybe your balance and maybe it's a little bit depressing. And I think exercise is the one best way to elevate our moods and to really fight that actually seasonal depression, because I think it affects a lot of us. And sometimes I get a little tired, especially when it comes around February. I get tired of one snowstorm after the other, and it gets dark here at 4 o'clock, which is really, really early. So perhaps it does the same wherever you live. And so if we get an exercise routine, especially throughout the winter, I think that's a great way to beat seasonal depression. And try not to take medication when you can just exercise and naturally elevate our moods. And do all those projects, such as what I'm doing. I'm working on my book. I'm going to start my paintings. And I ordered some really, really bright wool material to start over on my rug braiding. And I have all these exciting things planned to keep me busy throughout the winter, which I will do videos on. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. And I welcome all your comments. I don't know if I'll ever get caught up responding to them all, but I'm sure trying. And take care. I wish you all well. And yeah, ask me whatever you like. Take care, everyone.